Welcome to the Law Offices of Mary Kennedy. EAD is an employment authorization document. I always say that it's more like a mini green card. That's what I call it. You can register any companies, you can work for any job. There's no limitation of only specific jobs are allowed, whereas in all the other non-immigrant visas, you have the limitations. So there are very different categories. The common ones are the H4 EAD, and then we all know the OPT and the STEM OPT. Those all come under the EAD classifications. And more is the 485 employment-based category when you file the adjustment of status, or family-based when you're in the US and then you apply for. Those are the common categories, and also some of them have options. So each category, so when you file a form 765, so you have to be very specific on what category you fall under and what's the eligibility requirement, and so you have to include all those documents in the filing as specified. And some of the categories of EAD allows you to work based on the receipt notice. It's not a common assumption. The common assumption is I applied for the EAD and so I'm eligible to work on the receipt. No, that's not correct. You have very many limitations. Even being on a H4 EAD, you have to have an I-94 that is valid when you have to have the eligibility to work on the receipt notice. So in detail, if you have to be specific, you cannot be assuming. You have to be specific to understand the eligibility requirements. That's a very gentle statement. That's not correct. And when you have to go for an expedited process, just for understanding purpose, the H4 and the H4 EAD, along with the premium processing of the H1B, has been stopped. The policy expired on January 2025. So in those cases, the EADs and the H4s are getting definitely delayed. It's taking 5 to 6 months. So in very limited situation, earlier they used to accept if you have a job offer and then you say that you don't have that eligibility, but at the same time right now that's not an option. We see that even expiry of the health insurance just because you're not in an employment. There are very different reasons, but the USCIS is not encouraging any specific factors to expedite the EAD approval. Yeah, the compelling circumstances EAD is if you have an I-140 that has been approved, if you lose your job, you're in the 60 days period, and then there are other eligibility criteria. One of them as clarified is if you have a house and then you are paying a mortgage and then you'll be not in a position to leave the country, or your children going for schools over here, or for health reasons you have to be continuing to over here. So some of the examples that I'm just citing over here, so that comes under the compelling circumstances EAD. But only limitations on this is it's not a status on its own. It's definitely a subjective question, and on top of it, it doesn't give you an eligibility to continue to stay. So in that case, what happens is if you have an offer and then the employer is willing to file for a H1B, you cannot change the status if you are in a compelling circumstances EAD. Then you have to go back to your home country and get your stamping and then come back. I would definitely recommend you to consult an attorney, but you're laid off and then you're looking forward to apply for it. Maybe it's worth it if you have a mortgage and children going to school and your health demands it as well. So if the officer, USCIS officers is convinced, most of the time they request for the documents, supporting documents related to that to be emailed to them, and the office is convinced that there is the expedited process has been approved. Usually we see that in a week time, 3 days to week time, you see the online status stating that the EAD card has been approved, and then the card will be received subsequently. There's no appeal. This is a subjective decision of the officer, but at the same time it doesn't mean that your pending EAD has been denied. That will start its own way and then on a regular process, and you'll be getting the decision subsequently. Thank you for watching.